Ramachandra Rao, National Research Professor and Line Spalling Research Professor, Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research, Bengaluru. Sir, Professor C.N.R. Rao is a world-renowned chemical scientist who has formidable institution-building talents with passion for teaching and research. Born in Bangalore, Professor Rao completed his early education in Bangalore itself and earned his college degree from Mysore University in 1951. He was inclined to join Indian Institute of Science for diploma or a postgraduate degree in chemical engineering, but a teacher persuaded him to attend Banaras Hindu University for his master's program in chemistry. Professor Rao chose to get himself registered for PhD program at Purdue University, USA, ignoring several compelling offers from MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, University of California, Penn State University, and Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. He obtained his postdoctoral training at the University of California at Berkeley campus. Professor Rao returned to join Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore in 1959 to eventually head its chemistry division. Professor Rao later moved to IIT Kanpur and started research on solid-state chemistry with emphasis on metal oxides, which constitute the largest family of materials with the widest range of properties. In fact, there were very few practitioners of the field at that time, His one-year study at Oxford University as a visiting Commonwealth professor during 1973 and 74 made him realize the need to build a dedicated, well-equipped laboratory for solid-state and materials chemistry, which would compare favorably with laboratories in the advanced countries. With this purpose, he returned back to Indian Institute of Science after a gap of 14 years to build a new department devoted to solid-state chemistry and materials science. Professor Rao was appointed as director of the Indian Institute of Science during 84 to 94. During this period, the government of India decided to establish Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research in 1989 to celebrate the birth centenary of India's first Prime Minister. Professor C.N.R. Rao was entrusted to be its founding president and continued to be the president till 1999. JNCSR has emerged as one of India's premier research institutions, and Professor Rao now works at this institute as line spalling professor and honorary president. In fact, one of the main areas of research at this center is chemistry and physics of materials. Professor Rao has been publishing extensively on chemistry of materials, including novel methods of synthesis, discovery of new materials, tailor-made materials with desired properties, and so on, for over half a century. He has worked on high-temperature superconductivity, colossal magnetoresistance, multiferroics, and open framework materials. In fact, in the last 20 years, he has been investigating various nanomaterials, especially nanotubes, nanowires, and graphene. Professor C.N.R. Rao has published about 1,600 research papers and 48 books. He has around 77,000 citations with an H index of 121. He is on the editorial board of several journals dealing with chemistry, chemical physics, material science, and solid-state chemistry. He has guided over 150 researchers for their doctoral programs, besides young co-workers and postdoctoral fellows. In the last 10 to 15 years, he has been making considerable effort to bring about science education materials, such as books and CDs for school children. He regularly delivers lectures to children in various parts of the country. Professor Rao is a member of major science academies in the world, including the prestigious Royal Society London, the National Academy of Sciences, United States, the Russian Academy of Sciences, French Academy of Sciences, Japan Academy, as well as American Philosophical Society. He is a member of Pontifical Academy of Sciences, Foreign Fellow of Academia Europaea, the Royal Society of Canada, and the foreign member of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Among the various medals, honors, and awards received by him, mention may be made of Marlowe Medal of the Faraday Society, Bhatnagar Prize, Padma Shri, Centennial Foreign Fellowship of the American Chemical Society, Royal Society of Chemistry Medal, Padma Vibhushan, Honorary Fellowship of the Royal Society of Chemistry London, Havrovsky Gold Medal of the Czechoslovak Academy, Blackett Lecturership of the Royal Society, Einstein Gold Medal of UNESCO, Leonard Professor of the University of Cambridge, Centenary Medal of the Royal Society of Chemistry London, the Hughes Medal of the Royal Society London for original discovery in physical sciences. He has also received Karnataka Ratna by the Karnataka government, the Order of Scientific Merit from the President of Brazil, Gauss Professorship of Germany, and the Spcial Award of the International Union of Materials Research. He is the first recipient of the Indian Science Award by the Government of India and received the Dan David Prize in 2005 for his research in material science. He was named as the chemical pioneer by the American Institute of Chemists, Chevalier de la Légion d'Honneur by the President of the French Republic, and received the honorary fellowship of the Institute of Physics, London, and St. Catherine College, Oxford. He received the Nikkei Asia Prize for Science, Technology and Innovation in 2008. He was awarded the Royal Medal by the Royal Society and August Wilhelm von Hofmann Medal for his outstanding contributions to chemistry by the German Chemical Society in 2010. He received the Ernesto Eli Tristri Science Prize for Materials Research in 2011 and was Albert Einstein Professor of the Chinese Academy of Sciences in 2012. He received Bharat Ratna Award in 2014. Professor Rao is Chairman, Scientific Advisory Council to the Prime Minister of India, immediate past President of the Academy of Sciences for the Developing World, and member of the Atomic Energy Commission of India. He has been founder president for both the Chemical Research Society of India and the Materials Research Society of India. Professor Rao was president of the Indian National Science Academy from 1985 to 1986, the Indian Academy of Sciences from 1989 to 91, and the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry from 1985 to 1997. He was the chairman of the Science Advisory Council to Prime Minister Shri Rajiv Gandhi from 1985 to 89, and chairman Scientific Advisory Committee to Union Cabinet from 1997 to 1998. Professor Rao has honorary doctorates from 63 universities, including Purdue, Burde, Banaras Hindu University, Calcutta University, Shri Venkateshwara University Delhi, IIT Mumbai, IIT Kharagpur, and ISERs of Bhopal, Calcutta, Mohali, and Pune. Northwestern University, Notre Dame University, Oxford, Stellenbosch University, South Africa, Rainbow, Uppsala, Wales, Warsaw, and many more. Sir, we are privileged to honor Professor C.N.R. Rao and pray to you to confer the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa of University of Kashmir on Professor C.N.R. Rao, National Research Professor and Line Spalling Research Professor, Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research, Bangalore, in recognition of his noteworthy contributions to the field of chemistry.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as the Chancellor of the University of Kashmir, I confer on you the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa of the University of Kashmir.
National Research Professor and Linus Pauling Research Professor, Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research, Honorable Minister of Education, Jammu and Kashmir State, Janab Naeem Akhtar Andrabi Sahib, Council of Honorable Ministers in the Jammu and Kashmir Government, Honorable Vice Chancellors of the sister universities, esteemed Directors of Sher Kashmir Institute of Medical Sciences and National Institute of Technology, Srinagar, our colleagues from state bureaucracy, Sharma ji and Vyas ji and Muhammad Shafi Pandit Sahib, respected members of the University Council, Syndicate, Academic Council, teaching and non-teaching community and body corporate of University of Kashmir, respected principals of affiliated and constituent colleges of the University of Kashmir, members of the civil society, professionals from print and electronic media, other invited dignitaries, Professor Hunt, students, scholars, ladies and gentlemen. We are deeply privileged to have with us the guest of honor, Professor C.N.R. Rao, National Research Professor and Linus Pauling Research Professor, Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research, Bengaluru. On behalf of the entire university fraternity and the body corporate of the university, sir, I express my heartfelt gratitude for accepting to grace the occasion. We are truly overwhelmed with your presence and value our interaction with greatest reverence and admiration. Ladies and gentlemen, the wisdom, the guidance, serious sense of involvement and accountability that emanates from the Honorable Chancellor is in perfect harmony with the vision, direction, help and support forthcoming from the Honorable Pro-Chancellor. That constitutes the driving principle for the growth and prosperity for the university. Ladies and gentlemen, the humility and concern deeply enshrined in the conduct of Honorable Minister for Education is a gesture that guarantees a dignified collaboration with the state administration to take this university to newer heights. I have the honor to welcome all of you, sir, and have the privilege to express my gratitude for all present here in having graced us with your presence on this special convocation. Situated in the backdrop of exquisite natural beauty on the western side of fabulous Dal Lake and blessed with divine grace of Hazrat Shrine, this university has the ambience and perhaps all the attributes to remain true to its vision of attaining the status of a world-class university, committed to create and disseminate knowledge for human development and welfare. Ladies and gentlemen, we remain truthful in our allegiance to create an intellectually stimulating environment and promote excellence in teaching, research and extension activities, facilitate academic freedom and harmony, so very vital to build up on the progress we have made over the years in earning recognition for this university, in being shortlisted to be within 10% of the Indian universities graded A by NAC. It's imperative, however, to keep participatory engagement of teachers, scholars, students, and learned members of the civil society to develop innovative, creative, and futuristic programs to meet technological, socio-economic, political, environmental challenges faced by us and anticipated in future. The University of Kashmir has craved a niche for itself in maintaining the standards of student education, such as to foster their acceptance at world-class institutions like Harvard, MIT, Oxford, Cambridge, and other national and international institutes of excellence to promote visibility and appeal for this university, such as this university remains in reckoning for achieving excellence. Inspirational or incentivized induction of such pass-outs from universities like the ones I mentioned in the faculty of this university to promote our agenda of brain circulation, so paramount for our prosperity, remains the topmost priority of the university. In tune with this agenda, I am proud to inform this gathering that at least 10 such individuals stand accepted by the university within the last couple of years alone, and we remain focused to redefine modalities for hassle-free induction of such extraordinary individuals, should any of them decide to return. It's therefore imperative to create an appropriate platform in the university for them to be productive in their deliverance. We remain more than convinced that a state-of-the-art research center at the campus is necessary to help realize the objective behind the initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, the faculty of this institution remains sensitive to the standards associated with the profile of a university teacher. In fact, this is perhaps the only job where the promotional prospects are linked with stringent performance indices based on quality variables with national endorsement. Despite infrastructural compulsions to meet with such assessment variables, we have always come through without necessarily making headlines, for the fact that we know that we would perhaps do even better with resources that are not coming by due to financial compulsions. Research infrastructure that has come up over the last 5 years or so is a testimony to our effort in having 166 extramurally funded projects in operation with a financial outlay of about 70 crores. None of these projects, however, supports construction of any kind to bring about a change of substance in the ambience of our research laboratories. In fact, the sustenance budget as a support for research activities at the university is paltry 0.1% of the total budgetary allocation. That too we struggle to maintain for compulsive adjustments towards areas like examination that matter the most. I must, however, appreciate the assurances of the Honorable Chief Minister, the Honorable Education Minister, and Honorable Minister for Finance to have these concerns addressed too promptly. Notwithstanding the compulsion not be counted out, we have come up with as many as 692 international publications, 60 international books, and filed about 39 patents through Entrepreneur Development Cell of the university. We also remain apprised about our compulsions to establish linkages with national and international counterparts and have entered into memoranda of understanding with a number of organizations to foster productive collaborations. Sensitive towards the requirements for inputs from nationally and internationally acclaimed experts in fine-tuning our curricula and refining our research objectives, about 87 conferences, seminars, and workshops were organized with significant international representation. Perhaps the best of all of them, that is to conclude today, the Young Investigators Meet. We have had the privilege to rub shoulders with, ladies and gentlemen, 2001 Nobel laureate Tim Hunt, who happens to be in the audience. Please give him a big hand. With those remarks, I thank you very much.
It's an honor to be in Kashmir to receive this degree. I have received many honorary doctorates, but I wanted to get one from Kashmir. I wanted to know that. I don't know how many people in India feel like this. My wife and I have always felt Kashmir is a special place. That we feel we also belong there. And I'm very grateful and thankful for the authorities of the university, and particularly our Chancellor, Mr. Vora, for bestowing this honor on me. It is a special honor that I am receiving this degree when Mr. Vora is here. He is an outstanding administrator, outstanding civil servant who has served this country in various capacities, and I have personal experience of having worked with him long ago. It is a great pleasure to be on this occasion when he is governor. And I'm also looking for a new Kashmir season with our new Chief Minister, who is a great leader, and I'm sure under his guidance, education, science, and all other important things that matter will improve. I feel in our hurry to grow, hurry to develop, we usually tend to forget the most essential things of life: education and science. I am a firm believer in the fact, without a strong foundation in education, very strong foundation in science, no country can be a leader in this world. Everything else that you gain will be a temporary gain. A long-term gain for any country will depend on how good your education system is, how strong your scientific foundation is. It is in this context I hope India will do its best to do everything possible to invest more in education, invest more in science. Not only the government, but our industry. Our industry has given very little for either education or science. I hope our industry will contribute to both education and science. I hope you all know that nearly 90% of the funding for science comes from our government, but almost nothing from industry. And at high time, our industry takes care of at least 40 to 50% of the responsibility of funding scientific work in the country. That is what happens, say, in other countries like South Korea, Japan, or United States. It is high time industry collaborates with the government to help education and science. Well, coming to Kashmir, I was very happy to be in this university. I believe Kashmir deserves a special support. I do hope the university can establish a very modern laboratory, modern facility for frontier research. Don't call it just another research center. Frontier research laboratory. Because scientific research is going on so rapidly. The joke is that you have to be galloping to remain stationary. To really make major advances in that today, from here, you require a tremendous effort, tremendous facility, and human will. And I'm sure in the presence of our administrators and also Governor and Chief Minister and Education Minister, let us make a definite resolve that to have a fantastic research center in the university, and second, also have other types of institutions. You know, the way things are in India, we need many more institutions of excellence to provide opportunities for our young people to work in. Suppose all the bright young men want to work, bright young women want to work in somewhere. Where are those institutes? They have to go to places where conditions are not satisfactory. The environment may not be satisfactory. So we need to provide them proper opportunities. So as a well-wisher of Kashmir, I do hope you will get, for example, another Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research in Kashmir. It is very, very good for Kashmir and very good for science in Kashmir. And I think this will be a wonderful thing to happen. Well, I have devoted nearly 56 years as a professor in India now, but doing research. I'm now 81 years old. I'm still publishing a lot. In fact, I still publish 25 or 30 papers every year. It has been a wonderful journey doing science. And I will continue to do so. And so it is always a pleasure for me to promote and encourage research wherever I can. Is there anything I can do as a human being to do something for Kashmir, or Kashmir University in particular, I'll be happy to do so. In fact, I hope that we can have direct contact with faculty and students who can come and work in my laboratory. If there is anything I can do or anywhere else where we in Bangalore from our center can provide all the support for that with no expense involved for Kashmir. So I'll be happy to do that. And I also wish Kashmir takes the lead in many things and becomes a fountain of knowledge, a great contributor to the future of Kashmir and India. I wish all the people here lots of wonderful future, Kashmir a great future, science itself even a greater future. Thank you.
His whole shyness is fountain of shyness, but it is a privilege to give him, confer the degree of Doctor of Science on Professor Rao, who is a doyen of Indian science and an accomplished scientist of international repute. The degree of Doctor of Science is being conferred on Professor Rao in recognition of his remarkable contribution to the field of chemistry, higher education, science policy and research, and development in India and abroad. I hope that many of the faculty members and students would feel inspired by his unstinted commitment to science and quality of work that Professor Rao carried over the years. JK has a very distinct tradition and history of intellectual and educational performance. It is here that a university was established a few kilometers away from this place at Harvan at the beginning of Christian era. In about 4th century AD, a global Buddhist council was held in Kashmir, laying down the fundamentals of that great religion. This place has been also called a Sharda Peeth. Kashmir has had the unique distinction of having established a school for women more than 7 centuries back by the great Sufi saint Sheikh Nuruddin Nurani, Rahmatullahi alayh. That place near Char Sharif is still called Chatakorian, which means the school girls. One of the best schools of its times, Urwatul Wuska, was established during the reign of great Zainul Abidin Badshah to offer instructions in Arabic and Persian. Lal Ded was indeed a colossus in the literary work who dominated literature of her times, and nobody of her standing is to be seen anywhere near her for about 3 centuries around her. I am told that in English language alone, 17 translations of her poetry have been published from here to America. A long list of luminaries from Anand Vardhan and Abhinav Gupta, Sheikh Yaqub Sarfi, Maulana Muhsin Fani, Ghani Kashmiri, historians Kalhan and Hassan illuminate the intellectual landscape of this place. Art, craft, music, drama, and aesthetics have marked our ethos of distinction. But JK today presents a disturbing contrast. Although our youngsters and a generation of more conscious parents have made their best effort to prove worthy of the challenges that the present day world poses. Even though the educational system in the state is way below the par, still some of the young people have made a mark within the state and even at the global level. Just to mention, 51 boys and girls have made it to IAS, IFS, IPS, and other center services during the last 5 years, and the trend is picking up. We have produced some celebrity writers who have created their own place in the world of literature. Even the University of Kashmir and Jammu are promoting research in science and other faculty. The state has the distinction of using work property for creating two very good universities, which lay the foundation for community participation in the promotion of education and could be a model for rest of the country where huge work properties lay unutilized or otherwise exploited. But I have concerns to share with my friends here. With such a great legacy as I mentioned above, how is it that we have not been able to tap our intellectual potential enough to create a knowledge society in J&K? On the literary ladder, we are at 6th place from the bottom. We have of course passed through a very bad patch, but now we are in a position to relate ourselves in more convincing manner with our glorious past. My government will try everything to convert JK into a knowledge society and a place where people from rest of the country, even outside, would feel privileged to come for interaction and acquiring knowledge. Achieving 100% literacy is the beginning of a new journey of hope. If Bangalore could become IT capital of this country, and in fact the whole world, my dream is to make this place a knowledge capital of our great country. We will use our resources to offer the scholars and scientists the right atmosphere to work. But our task should begin from the primary education by making the schools attractive and irresistible for the children and their parents. We can solve our problems only through education, and we have decided to revamp the whole sector and the reform education in government and private sectors so that resources employed there are targeted not just to create literacy or add to the numbers of unemployed people, but convert what has been treated as a liability in our best asset. Human resources for me is the most valuable asset. We will have failed in every commitment, in every other commitment that we make if we do not succeed on this front. I would request Professor C.N.R. to associate himself with J&K more closely so that our scientists and teachers are able to receive a direct inspiration from him. To our scholars, scientists, I would say try to seek answers, questions that concern us and our daily lives. The job given to you in my understanding of Quran is that of Ulul Albab, Aimma in Arabic. The people who think or the people with intellect. I will look up to all of you for your close association with the knowledge movement my government is about to launch. Thank you.
Distinguished Vice Chancellors of the various universities who are present here today, members of the legislature, senior officers of the state government, Vice Chancellor Andrabi, Registrar Professor Reshi, members of the University Council, Syndicate, Academic Council, members of the staff, and students of this university. I would especially like to welcome our guest of honor at today's special convocation, Professor C.N.R. Rao, National Research Professor and Linus Pauling Research Professor, Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research. As you just heard, when the citation was read out. About a year ago, Professor Rao was vested with this country's highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna. Amongst our guests today, I would specially recognize Nobel laureate Professor Tim Hunt. He is Professor Emeritus at the London Research Institute. I had the pleasure of being with him yesterday. It is a privilege for this university and for me as Chancellor to have the honor of welcoming Professor Rao in our midst and honoring him for his eminent contribution to science, to chemistry, and very particularly to solid-state chemistry. I would like to mention in passing that much before Professor Rao received the Bharat Ratna, the then Vice-Chancellor and I had decided that we would hold a special convocation to honor some of the most outstanding scientists in our country. And in our list, Professor Rao was number one. There were several others. We held a special convocation in October 2013 at the time of the annual science congress that we hold, the Jammu and Kashmir Science Congress, which was converging with a national event, the National Science Congress, precursor to the National Science Congress 2014. But as it happened circumstantially, Professor Rao could not attend this special convocation and we had to defer this event. Late last year, after Professor Indrabi took over as Vice-Chancellor, he had mentioned to me that this winter in March, the Kashmir University would be associated with a very significant scientific event, that is the Young Investigators Meeting 2015, and that this was being held in Gulmarg for 5 days in this month, rather last month, ended yesterday, March 2015. And I had thought that we would have a large number of scientists present at the university on this occasion, and that will be ideal to hold a special convocation to honor Professor Rao, that he would be able to meet many of his old colleagues and also address them. So I am personally grateful to Professor Rao for having acceded to our request to be honored by this university, which has honored itself by honoring him. And needless to say, this is a very historical day for the University of Kashmir. I've had the privilege of working with Professor Rao in the years past, when he was the principal advisor to the Prime Minister, to the Cabinet, and to the Government of India on all scientific matters. And I dare say that at that point of time, looking back, a large number of decisions were taken at his instance and on his encouragement, which on hindsight I feel were momentous in terms of encouragement to science, encouragement to scientific scholarship. Amongst the many people who benefited from some of the initiatives which were taken by Professor Rao at that time was a very prestigious scholarship, which Professor Indrabi was one of the recipients. So there is historical linkage. Professor Rao, let me say very briefly, is an eminent and highly accomplished chemist, an able administrator, an inspiring leader in the scientific arena, an eloquent and engaging speaker, and most of all, he is an avid educationist who has been responsible for introducing important reforms in science education in the past several years. Amongst his many initiatives, he has been the driving force behind the setting up of the Institutes of Science Education and Research. It was Professor Rao who gave the clarion call to urge the government to support science, technology and innovation, and to emphasize that this required not merely an increase in financial allocations, but also the moral and intellectual support of the society as a whole to the entire arena of science and scientific activity. If the science, technology and innovation approach is seriously followed and is meaningfully integrated in our economic and societal policies, I dare say that many serious challenges facing our country can be resolved and resolved very early. I am sure that Professor Rao's interaction with the faculty and the students, which took place yesterday, would inspire them to work hard for seeking and acquiring knowledge, which is the defining element of any institution of higher learning. Talking about science and the role and importance of science, I would like to mention that the economic and social transformation of India shall depend to a very large extent on the creation and application of new knowledge. It is important to recognize that this is only knowledge which can lay the foundations of an inclusive and wholesome society. An important objective of building a knowledge society is to empower young men and women through education and ensuring that all our delivery systems are structured on the basis of the latest knowledge, know-hows and techniques. And if India is to emerge as a major player in the global knowledge economy, as we have aspired to do for the last several years, it is of crucial importance that we succeed in imparting higher education on a meaningful basis and ensure that new knowledge is created. And new knowledge can be created only through high-quality research. I'm very happy that besides the Honorable Chief Minister, our Minister of Education is here today. He's a former civil servant. He's conversant with the issues and problems of education at various levels. And I'm very much hoping and looking forward to a situation arriving where we can take all the long pending steps to improve the quality and standard of education. It is therefore important that research must be encouraged if new knowledge is to be created, and its results acknowledged, promptly rewarded, and so as to create a productive environment for new ideas and innovations in all the institutions of higher learning. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, our first Prime Minister, had once remarked, and I quote, "A university stands for humanism, for tolerance, for reason, for the adventure of ideas, and for the search for truth. It stands for the onward march of the human race towards higher objectives. Universities are places of ideals and idealism. If the universities discharge their duties adequately, then it is well with the nation and well with the people," unquote. As Chancellor of this university, I urge the members of the faculty, as I have been doing for the past many years, ever since whenever I've had the opportunity of being in this university, in the campus, I would urge the members of the faculty to work with high commitment for the advancement of this institution and all stakeholders, particularly the students. As I have discussed with the Vice Chancellor on many occasions, imparting quality education to our students and undertaking high quality research should be the prime objective of this university. To establish and reinvigorate an intellectual environment, we need to create opportunities for our students so that they are able to meet and interact with the best intellectuals, academics and scientists. In this context, the science students and their teachers in this university were indeed very privileged that at the just concluded Young Investigators meeting, which was held for 5 days at Gulmarg and concluded yesterday, they were able to meet many eminent scientists, both Indian and foreign. And among these scientists, as I just mentioned, we had Nobel laureate Professor Tim Hunt. He's Professor Emeritus at the London Research Institute. Professor Ron Whale, University of California. Dr. Vijay Raghavan, National Center for Biological Sciences. Dr. Bhan Jawaharlal Institute of Postgraduate Medical Education and Research, Dr. Rupinder Bhalla, National Center for Biological Sciences, Dr. Nandita Bhadra, Indian Institute of Science Education Research, Professor Michael Eisen, University of California, Dr. Jayadnath Rao, IIT Kanpur, Dr. Maria Lepton, European Molecular Biology Laboratory, Heidelberg, Professor Elizabeth Hadley, Stanford University, California, and others who are here in connection with this important young investigators meet. I have never had any doubt, and I have been saying this to all of our vice chancellors in the state, that our students are as good as anywhere else in the world, and with proper support and guidance, being adequately enabled and not interrupted from time to time, they would bring laurels to their alma mater, to Jammu and Kashmir, and to the whole country. The University of Kashmir has moved steadily forward over the past years. However, we have yet a very long way to go